Now, the next time you hear Democrats claim that Republicans or pro-Second Amendment types don't care about children or their safety, I want you to do one thing. I want you to laugh in their faces, because they're the ones who don't care about the kids. Their policies help create the fertile ground from which some of the nation's most violent figures have emerged. Now, of course, they ignore any of the cultural and societal issues simmering beneath the surface and instead accuse conservatives of refusing to compromise on guns. Well, very quickly, maybe more folks would be willing to compromise on guns if Democrats themselves hadn't told us what their real goal really is.
I just took the position that may not be politically popular, may be too honest, that not only should no one be able to purchase an AR-15, I don't think that the people who have them right now in civilian use should be able to keep them.
We need a moratorium, perhaps, on gun sales. Who will say on this network or any other network in the next few days, it's time to repeal the Second Amendment?
And as usual, when Joe Biden shoots his mouth off, he reaches new heights of idiocy.
A 9mm bullet blows the lung out of the body. So the idea of these high-caliber weapons is there's simply no rational basis for it in terms of about self-protection, hunting. And remember, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, was never absolute. You couldn't buy a cannon when the Second Amendment was passed.
Well, I guess we have to add the line ballistics expert to Joe's resume. Does he even know, by the way, what the number 9 refers to, or the letters MM, for that matter? I'm not quite so sure. Now, the fact is, most Democrats on TV, they lately appearing, they only opine about dead children when there are political points to be scored. Remember, last year was the most deadly in a quarter century in Chicago, nearly 800 killed. So where were the protests, or the rallies? Where was Beto or Biden? The victims have often been young, rarely acknowledged, and quickly forgotten. In January, 8-year-old Melissa Ortega shot in Chicago by gangbangers' stray bullets. In February, 15-year-old Sincere Cole was shot 24 times, just around the block from his home. Earlier this month, a 16-year-old boy was shot and killed near the Bean, a popular tourist attraction. And over Memorial Day weekend, there was sadly the typical carnage in Chicago with 51 shot and 9 dead, the most violent weekend since 2017. And in Baltimore, 4 dead, including a 17-year-old named Neil Mack. Now, The Angle has actually done 2 major town halls in Chicago examining the violent crime that's plagued the residents there for years. And we asked Mayor Lori Lightfoot to appear with us in front of a live audience. They're all of her constituents, after all. Well, she never agreed. We found out a lot, though.
We need to stop waiting till it hit our doorstep. We need to say something if we see something.
I've been here for over 50-some years. I raised my kids here. I am scared.
We need to stick together. We need to speak out. You know, silence is just the worst thing ever. These are our kids, and they are important to us.
Her mother, that was the mother of the young man who was burned alive in a barrel. But nothing did change. In fact, things only got worse, and left-wing politicians continue to support policies that made life more dangerous for our young. Things like COVID lockdowns from schools to rec centers. That's all on the teachers' unions. They dropped a match on a powder keg. Of course, only now are media outlets finally admitting how damaging those closures were for children. Then there was the tolerance and even celebration of criminal behavior during the summer of love, summer of 2020. That created a justified atmosphere of rage and rampage.
I say, hey, nobody said that protest has to be peaceful by meaning that passive and tranquil. People should be angry. They should voice. They should blame. They should shame. That's all allowed in America, even if it makes people uncomfortable.
The left has been on a 50-year mission, really, to de-emphasize the importance of fathers in the home. And the results have been disastrous for all Americans, especially for young men in urban settings.
We've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
Of course, Salvador Ramos was another mass shooter who was the product of a broken home. No dad on the scene. Mom lives with boyfriend. Mom's a user. Police even show up at the house during aggressive fighting between him and his mother. Like so many isolated young men, I guess, perhaps, he looks for belonging and safety and maybe a new identity, changes his looks, wears all black, spends hours in chat rooms online with strangers, cuts himself on his face, all over his face for fun. He drops out of school. Yet no one seemed to step in. No one. The only one who maybe tried, he ended up shooting in the face, his grandmother. A stable home for children run by adults who hold themselves and the kids accountable is of paramount importance. A dysfunctional home life where drugs are easily accessible puts too many young people on a highway to hell these days. And speaking of drugs, according to the Daily Mail, well, the New York Times had originally reported that Ramos smoked pot. Then, mysteriously, the reference was missing from the online editions. Now, why is that? Was it bad information? Or is this the pro-marijuana bias that we've become accustomed to, that's so powerful because billions are on the line with it nationwide? So is the story now irrelevant? We reached out to the Times on this, but they have not responded. Now, the American people are hearing a lot about AR-15s and background checks, but they also deserve to hear about this as well. Respected medical studies for years now have demonstrated that pot use, especially among teens, can trigger psychosis and increase the chance that a young person will develop violent behaviors. The Association of Mature American Citizens writes, a 2017 study identified marijuana as the single most common correlative variable in otherwise diverse populations and circumstances surrounding the association of violence and marijuana. Reported links exist to shooters in Parkland, El Paso, Dayton, Aurora, Colorado, Tucson, Chattanooga, Sacramento, and perhaps elsewhere. Now, a friend of the Dayton shooter, Connor Betts, told authorities that he was a gun owner and that he had done hard drugs with Betts as well as marijuana and acid 4 or 5 times a week from 2014 to 2015. Former New York Times reporter Alex Berenson has written extensively on this subject. A 2012 paper in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence examining a federal survey of more than 9,000 adolescents found that marijuana use was associated with a doubling of domestic violence in the U.S. Then there's this, the National Library of Medicine. Recent illicit and medical marijuana is of much higher potency and more likely to cause violent behavior. High-potency marijuana is a predictable and preventable cause of tragic, violent consequences. My question tonight is, why isn't there a national conversation happening right now about this? Why aren't reporters doing more to demand information on the potential drug use, in this case and others, both illicit drugs and prescription drugs? Antidepressants have long been known to be a problem for some young people. Or are we all just going to pretend that Joe confiscating all the 9mm or Beto running a gun buyback program is going to heal and protect our youth? Is that what we're hoping? You see, I'd rather operate in the real world. And that world is a lot more complicated than the anti-Second Amendment, anti-gun activists would suggest. Whenever there is a societal, cultural, familial, and spiritual deficit, bad things are going to rush in to fill it. Guns, gangs, drugs, then there will be harm to others or self-harm. And until we're honest about all of this, young people will continue to be pawns in a political game. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.